Everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Daniel Castro. I'm Director of the Center for Data Innovation. For those of you that don't know the Center, we're a nonprofit, nonpartisan public policy think tank focused on the intersection of data technology and public policy. I'd like to welcome you to Data Innovation Day 2018. This is the fifth year we've done the Data Innovation Day conference. We started in 2013. We typically have been doing it in January, and I said we're going to move it to September so we can avoid the threat of a blizzard, which always seems to happen. And then, of course, all this week we were concerned about a hurricane. So that's just how it goes. The purpose of the conference is really to have an opportunity where we have one day in DC where we really focus on the positive impact that we're seeing around data in different areas of the economy and society. And we talk about how policymakers can help support these advances. Each year we take on a different topic. And the goal today is to discuss how data and artificial intelligence are being used to improve the drug development life cycle. So we have three panels today that are going to explore the impact of data innovation at each stage, from discovery and testing of chemical compounds, to the design and execution of clinical trials, to the regulatory processes and approval and post-market surveillance of different devices and drugs. A few logistics before we begin. First, the event is being recorded and webcast. If you're joining us on the webcast, you're welcome to participate using the hashtag Data Innovation on Twitter. If you're in the room, we encourage you to join online as well. We do have Wi-Fi in the room. It'll be up on some slides. We also have at the entrance the Wi-Fi password and information up there on pieces of paper for you. So to begin the conversation today, we'll first be hearing from Qingsong Zhu, the Chief Operating Officer of Insilico Medicine, a biotechnology company based out of Johns Hopkins University's Emerging Technology Center that focuses on using AI for drug discovery, biomarker development, and aging research. Dr. Zhu is responsible for operations and drug development at Insilico Medicine, where he focuses on improving the early diagnosis and personalized treatment of cancer and other age-related diseases. We're very pleased to have you, and please join me in welcoming Dr. Zhu today.
Thank you. Yes, my honor to talk here today. I'm today going to share some of our progress in applying AI technology in drug discovery. I'm a biologist, and I joined Hopkins School of Medicine in 2006. So at that time, we were trying to develop new therapy for ER-negative breast cancer. So at that time, we are applying a technology called microarray. So we screen many other compound candidates using the microarray. So for each sample, we're going to generate about 500 megabyte data at that time. And so we have 200 samples. So you can see we have a huge amount of data. And 2008, 2009, we switch a more advanced technology called next generation sequencing. So at that time, we generate even more data at that time. So depending on the platform you're going to use. So for one sample, we're going to generate about 1 gigabyte to 6 gigabyte. So you can see if we have 100,000 samples, then we can have a huge amount of data. So at that time, in Hopkins Cancer Center, we only have 2 or 3 biostatisticians help us. So at that time, after we generate a huge amount of data, so how can we utilize this data? That's a big problem faced to our biologists. And in 2014, we founded this company called Insilico Medicine. So at that time, we were located in Eastern Campus. And this, at the past May, we just relocated to the Medical Center Drive in Rockville. So we are very close here. So today I'm going to share some progress in applying AI technology in drug discovery. So we are very interested in aging. So why is we are interested in aging? Because we believe age is a big impact to many types of diseases, especially age-related disease. So we think if we can understand better of the aging, then we may understand better of the age-related disease. We can develop better therapies for this type of disease. So if you know drug development or drug discovery area, so you can see here, this slide shows. So each year, pharma company, they spend a huge amount of money. But unfortunately, even though we spend a huge amount of money, but for every year, the FDA-approved new drugs, still reduce. So for each year, for example, 2014, only about less than 50 drugs were approved by FDA. So there's a huge spending in this area. There's also very high failure rate. So this means a huge opportunity for us. So this is traditional, the left part, the figure is the traditional drug development or drug discovery, drug development pipelines. So normally, the big pharma company have huge compound library. They can screen the compounds, then narrow down the compound candidates using different type of technology, including, for example, we are using the microarray or next generation sequencing, depending on the technology they can use. Then they will narrow down the candidates, then move into the different stage of clinical trial. Then finally, they maybe have one or two drug candidates can reach to a new drug approval. So we think, can we using the advance in AI technology? Can we improve our drug development pipeline? Are we chasing around the reason for the high failure rate in our current drug development, drug discovery pipeline? Are we chasing around drug targets? So as you can see here, normally the pharma company will start from well-known compound candidates. Can we using AI technology to generate new molecules? So this is a couple of questions we want to ask. So we want to test, can we apply the advance of AI technology in the drug discovery industry? So our company is focusing on these two areas. So we are acquiring a huge amount of biology data. So we also have huge chemical database, chemical database. So we are acquiring the advance of AI technology. Mainly today I'm going to talk about is called deep learning technology. So we combine these three and we hope we can improve our drug discovery process. So the recent years, the advance, so rely on this, I would say, three major advance. The first is or we can call it a computation power. So as you can see now, one of cell phone computation ability is much faster than probably several years ago's desktop. The second part of the advance is software, or we call the algorithm. So now we have more sophisticated algorithm, so we can use in process all type of data. The third part is the accumulation of huge amount of data. As I mentioned at the beginning, so we can, one sample, we can huge amount of data. So someone making a statistics, less than 10 years accumulated data, we have more data than the previous even 100 years accumulated data. So we built a database based on a variable data set, different type of data set. Mainly is omics data, genomics, transcriptomics, and the proteomics. And based on this database, and we can provide a different type of service. So this is our end-to-end drug discovery pipeline. So from drug target identification, generation new molecule for this target, and also we have some pipelines can predict the clinical outcome for this compound or drugs. So today I will not talk all of them. Today I'm going to mainly focus on using AI technology to generate the new molecules. This is one of the algorithms. We're using in our generate new molecules. So in 2014, the algorithm was first proposed, and this algorithm called the generative adversarial networks. So in this algorithm mainly contain two parts. First part called the generator, so can create new molecules. The second part is called a discriminator. So the generator generates sample-like noise signal. The discriminator distinguish between real sample signal and generate noise-like signal. Then after one cycle, then come back to retrain the algorithm, and the back and forth. So if after a certain amount of the training, distinguish, and then we can generate the noise signal, and the discriminator could not distinguish between these two. So in 2015, and a group, they adopt this technology to use this technology to generate an image. As we can see, for example, Google, they accumulate tons of image. They depend on the user, and they think, hey, can we generate a new molecule just by the algorithm? So they applied a similar algorithm. So they trained the algorithm using the image. Then after they trained the algorithm, they asked the algorithm to generate a new image. These three images generated by the algorithm just based on the voice command or text command. So in 2016, early 2016, we think even they can generate new images, can we generate new molecules? Because for the pharma company or for biotech or like us, so we depend on the pattern. So we are depend to identify any new molecules, then we can have award. But if the molecule is already protected by other people's patent, then even we identify the function for the new molecule, then we cannot make any money from that. So if the algorithm can help us to generate new molecule, no one know the molecule, then we can apply the new pattern for this. So if you have a chemistry background, so the molecules, they are normally 3D structure. So how can we have the algorithm to recognize a 3D structure? So luckily, so the chemists, they already have this type of the technology. So they first we're using called SMILE system. So we convert the 3D molecule structure into a linear structure. Then we use a MAC fingerprint system. So in that way, we can convert a linear structure into a signal structure. In that way, the digital structure. In that way, our algorithm can take this data, then we can train our algorithm. After we train our algorithm, then we can ask the algorithm generate a new molecule for us. So this is our architecture in our first generation of the drug generator. So we have similar structure like the traditional game. So we have a generator, the first generator, then the discriminator. So this decoders after you generate the molecule, they will convert it into a fingerprint. Then with fingerprint, we can become a new molecule. So after we train this algorithm, then we can ask the algorithm, hey game, can you help me generate a molecule against ER or against any kind of kinase? So this is what we are looking for. So this is our first experiment. So first we train our algorithm use about 6,000 of the compounds, and after we train the algorithm, we ask the algorithm to generate compound which can use to treat breast cancer. So we project all our molecule into a 3D image here. So the green dots are the 72 million compounds in our database. So the blue dots is the molecules we use to train our algorithm. And the red one, unfortunately, we cannot see very well. So we ask the algorithm to generate 65 molecules. So the red one is the de novo generated molecules. So as you can see, some of their molecules, they already have the anti-cancer function, but some of them they are de novo. They are new molecule. No one knows, or you cannot find this in the database. So we think this is very cool. And start from the second half year of 2016 and 2017 and early of this year. So we even develop a more sophisticated algorithm. So we combine GAN with another technology called reinforced learning. So this is another AI algorithm. So after we train and ask the algorithm to generate a new molecule. So here we have a more specific function, the target for the algorithm. So we want to generate a new molecule specific against a specific of the kinase. So here we generate inhibitor for a family of the kinase called JAK family. So JAK1, JAK2, and the JAK3. And we use this approach to generate the new molecules. After we generate the new molecule, because these new molecules, they're de novo. So it means no one know this structure, and no one we cannot buy these compounds from any kind of company. So we hire a chemical company, synthesize these compounds, and we hire a second CRO company help us to validate these compounds, use their assay. So this is the result. So we generate a bunch of compounds and molecules, and we can you can see this is a validation result. So the overall result we can see more than 50% of compound are what we are looking for. So the successful rate is very we are very happy about the successful rate, and also because the compound in the future, if you want to develop the compound into a drug, you cannot too toxic. You have to be dissolved in the water, or so as you can see, all these compounds we can inhibit the target in a very low concentration. So it's picomolar or nanomolar range. So this is very, very promising for us. And using this technology, so we screen and also we generate hundreds of thousands of molecules. And we also, based on these molecules, we also identify the potential target. And we further narrow down using the in vitro and in vivo assay. So right now we are focusing on the most of the promising chemicals in this area. So we use the similar technology. Right now we have two nutraceutical products on the market. So this is a cartoon to demonstrate our drug discovery pipeline. So first, we are using the GAN to generate the molecules, and the discriminator will distinguish this molecule, and we can apply multiple filters. Is this molecule is de novo? Is this molecule is too toxic? Is this molecule is soluble? So after we filter this, then we can filter out the most of the molecules. Then we can identify the most potential compounds. Then we can further hire chemical company synthesize these compounds and hire CRO to provide these compounds. So in our activities, so we can apply AI technology in many of area in the drug development. So mainly we are focusing on the drug target identification and also compound generation, just I showed in my previous slides. Actually, we can apply AI technology in many of the area. So here I want just have a quick summary. As you can see, there are many startups and also many of the big companies that are working in this area. And also many of the big pharma company, as I know, GSK, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca, they are very interesting too. They either have their own AI team, or they have collaborate with a third party to trying to integrate AI technology into their drug development pipeline. So in the common stage, so we built a huge database. I mean, not only one. We collect most of the public available data. So we built our own the database. So based on this database, we can do many things. Either we can identify potential drug target. We also can test the hypothesis. We can also do a drug repurposing, and we also can identify new compound, a new treatment for this patient. So we have applying to launch many of these apps. So based on different type of diseases. So actually, we spin off our technology, and we found a company called Longenis in Hong Kong. So this is our subsidiary in Hong Kong. So in this company, so we are providing a date, or we can providing a user market. So in this platform, we can provide the user to integrate all type of data from here you can see we can find ECC, from ECG, and from your facial, from your blood test, and your genomics data. So you can integrate all this data. So traditionally, so the big company like Google, Facebook, they control the users' data. So they decide why or when they sell their users' data. So we built this platform. We have the user or the owner of the data control how they want to distribute their data. If they want to sell their data to the pharma company, they want to sell their data to a company like us, it's okay. Or they want to donate their data to any kind of the nonprofit organization. That's also totally dependent for the user. So here we just provide a healthcare data exchange market for the user. So here's we have another platform is to solve my own problem. So we have at Johns Hopkins. So we have a huge amount of genomics data. We have a huge amount of the transcription data. So we have a platform called the Pandomics. So we have alpha version already launched, and we're going to launch the beta version very soon this year. So in this platform, we can provide the user to input all his personal or either personal or available transcription data, all type of data, we call it omics data. So, and in this platform, we have trained the AI algorithm. So after he import the user import his personal data, they can do many things. For example, if you are from academic, you can generate different type of graphic for your publication purpose. Or we can also, for example, if you are very interested in certain type of diseases, so you can put in the data, then you can identify the potential drug target. You can also identify potential compounds. Yeah, I will stop here. So and I'll be very happy to take.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Questions.
And we do have time for one or two questions before we move into our first panel. So we have microphones. If you raise your hands, we'll bring it over to you. And if you're on Twitter, again, you can use the hashtag Data Innovation to ask a question, and we'll get those in. You have one? Yeah, right over here. Richard, right over here. Up at the front. Right here.
So you're using artificial intelligence to generate the question and then generate the answer and manufacture a small amount of the chemical to test and see if this is. What about your libraries that you're feeding for the artificial intelligence to generate the question?
So we have, I show you the one slide. So we collect most of the, we have, in our compound library, we have 72 million compounds. So we already have most of the known compound in our library.
Okay. Right here, yes. While we wait for the mic, so.
Sorry, thanks. That was a great talk. How big are the compounds that you're synthesizing, and what's the throughput on your machines? How many in a day?
Right now, our problem is the validation. So we can generate as many as you want. Just. No limit? I would say no limit. Because just based on your algorithm, you can just let it continue. And we also want to, after we generated the new molecule, we want to compare these molecules with our database. So is this compound is in our database? Is this compound has any kind of patent protection? Is this compound, also we have other filter, for example, solubility, toxicity, and how hard this molecule to synthesize this molecule, because in the future we have to have the chemical company synthesize this compound. Yeah, so for the algorithm, I would say there's few limitations. The hard part is how did you validate these molecules? For example, compare. Sometimes we have to do manual work. For example, we have to search different type of database. For example, search the patent database to see if this molecule is protected by other company. So if in that case, then we can filter out.
Thanks. We can do one more if there's anyone. Right here in the back. Yep.
At the beginning, you had said that average cost to develop one drug was $2.6 billion, 92% failure rate. Can you give us an idea of the magnitude of improvement AI has given for either cost or success rates?
Wow, that's a good question. Actually, many of our investors ask the same question, because they the quick answer is yes. Because we can improve the successful rate. So, for example, we have a close 65% of successful rate, but we can save lots of time or lots of unnecessary experiments. So, for example, when I was in Hopkins, so we have to screen all, for example, 100, 200 compounds. So for each compounds, you got, test, a serial test. If you can reduce from 100 compounds into 10 compounds, so you can see you can save, at least at this stage, you can save about 90% of your cost. But for example, for the clinical trial part, and we hope our algorithm can predict, for example, we can identify the subgroup of the patient which can benefit from this clinical trial. And we also can predict potential outcome for the clinical trial. So we hope this can also reduce the cost. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot give you a clear answer how much we can save.
Great. Well, thank you again for this great talk. I think it really sets the stage for the rest of the conversations we want to have today.